Those are the back. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Elmina, which particularly means the mines. So actually, they were mining gold here. And if you see buildings on this particular street, some buildings, actually they are in European style, right? Further we go, you see more of them, okay? So Elmina, people, the natives in this particular area couldn't mention it well, so they said Elmina. So that's incorrect, but the correct thing is Elmina. Majorly, this Elmina people actually did fishing a lot. So on the right side here, that is the fishing market. So right beneath this bridge.
Selected some females to spend 24 hours here, just to go through what the ancestors went through for just 24 hours. These materials were used to cover themselves, and these were their source of light for 24 hours. After that 24 hours, some of the ladies got malaria, yellow fever, rashes, and others. Just 24 hours here. So what about the females who spent about 3 to 4 months in the dungeons? And also, on top of this dungeon was a church. The Dutch had their church up there. While they worship their God, they could hear the females suffering and crying here. And this was the original floor where the ladies slept. You could see the red things there. That was the original floor. And also along the castle, you come across wooden bars like this. They are not original. These are some of the original metals used at the time. But because it is rusting, that's why I've changed it to wooden bars. These were also brought by some of the tourists. Sometimes they light candles here to pray to the ancestors. So this is one of the female slave dungeon. Please now let's see the biggest female dungeon. Okay, so this is the biggest female dungeon. This dungeon took about 150 females. At that time, there were 2 containers at the corners of these dungeons because these ladies were not allowed to go out to ease themselves. So they urinated and defecated into 2 containers. But because they spent about 3 to 4 months in the dungeons, usually on the 2nd month, the ladies, so 8 of these balls with chains were placed on the legs of the lady. The lady was forced to stand here for 24 hours. No food, no water, whether rain or shine, just because the lady resisted rape. This also served as warning to the ladies in the dungeons because they didn't want to go through this punishment. When they were being selected by the governor, they had no choice than to give up. So this was what they were using to punish these females. And this is the female slave dungeon. Now let's see where the females passed to the ships, to the room of no return as well. It's also called the transit room. When the ship arrived, the males who survived in their dungeons, they were forced to pass this side to the room of no return and to their ships. And the room at the back there, that's where they identified the males. They placed hot metal for identification. So that's the branding room, and this is the transit room. Now let's move to the intersection room. From there we move to the intersection room. So the females who survived in the dungeons, they were forced to pass this side to the room of no return. The males also used the other side. There was a staircase here, but now it's been changed into a drainage. Here was where the males and the females saw themselves for the last time. In the ship, they separated them because they believed that if they mix them, some of the males may impregnate the females. And the motive for taking them away is not to reproduce, but to make profit. For this reason, they separated the males from the females. So here was where they once said goodbye to themselves. This is the intersection room. Now we are moving to the room of no return. Please, when you get here, you go down, count 4 steps before you raise your head. At that time, the sea was touching the walls of the castle. There was a staircase here where they descended. So the ship stopped about 1 kilometer away. They used smaller boats to convey these slaves to the ships. Give it to them, 4 sources of ventilation. Each survived this hard journey, made it to Caribbean, European, and American countries. Countries like Haiti, Suriname, Jamaica, Brazil, South Carolina, Maryland, and others. So before they started slave trade, this side was very wide because here was where the Portuguese offloaded their goods into the castle. But when they started slave trade, they narrowed it to this small so that they could easily count and control these slaves. And the rates at the back, they were brought by mostly the black community in the diaspora who believe some of their ancestors lost their lives here. Sometimes too, they pray here because they believe the soul of the ancestors are still present here. So this is the room of no return. So please, you will come close and have a look.
What you see on the floor is a decomposed of urine, feces, food, blood, sweat, saliva of the ancestors. This is the original floor. This bricks is the original floor, but it was covered with this because of the moisture. That is why this has become very soft. So this is the ancestors' urine, feces, food, everything they left behind. If they clean it, it will be like this. But if they don't clean, it becomes like this. Let's see the third chamber of the building. You can have a picture of this. It was during the people's slavery. And so when you go to Elmina Castle, you will notice there are different dungeons compared to here. This is a real underground dungeon. This castle you see was purposely built because of the trade, the transatlantic slave. But Elmina Castle in Christian work in Accra wasn't built for slave trade. It was built as a trading post where the warehouses were the ones that they would store the African gold and then they would exchange them or trade them with the Africans and the traditional. Until 1492 when Columbus reached America where he lost his way and then they started converting the warehouses to dungeons. But this was built purposely to contain the slaves. That's why this is called the Cape Coast Slave Dungeon. And so what we are standing on is a decomposed of urine, feces, food, blood, sweat. The room was covered with this, but if you also excavate here, we get the same original floor, just like the bricks we are all seeing there. And so this is the decomposed urine, feces, and after preaching about will come true and then still win enslaved Africans. So tell me, they came to Israel that they just came to enslave Africans. And so they used the Bible as justification to cover their practice that was going on. And the church also profited from the business that was going on here. Let's see the fifth chamber of the building. So this room was made for selection because of the brightness of the place. They called their selection where the weak ones or the sick ones be taken from the stronger ones here. The sick ones will be kept in the small room just over here. There's no door, the small we are all seeing here. That is where the sick ones will be kept until they die and they throw them to the sea. But if they keep you here and the next ship comes and you are strong enough to join them, they will take you out from here to join. Other than that, any African that died in this room was thrown to the sea. The strong ones will pass through. So where the whites for this whole area side was an open tunnel, an underground tunnel. 75 meters long tunnel. The tunnel connects the male dungeon here to the female dungeon. So note when the ships arrive, they won't come out like how we be going out or how we came in. They will rather pass through or walk through the side of the tunnel to join the females and use the door of no return. It is blocked by McLean. The grave is out in 1833. Unfortunately today we are not going to walk through the tunnel. It is blocked. But when we go out, I will show you a section or a part of the tunnel that I'm talking about. And so this is an African religion. It's not that Africans don't have a religion. They believe in God. This is the religion for Africans before the arrival or the introduction of both Christianity and the Islamic religion. And so the castle was built on the deity, and the locals or the folks will come here to pray and then communicate with the God here. And when the English built the castle, they seized them from coming here. So the locals decided to take everything from here to the community far away. After the trade was abolished, they brought it back again, but the castle was already built and they can't break the dungeons. That is why they kept it here. And in Cape Coast, they believe in 77 deities on the subworld. This is the leader of them. A chief priest normally sits where the white horse is. Use the palm wine on the drink there. with a calabash to pour libation. And we have about 10% of the locals around here who still practice the old religion. This is more than 200 years old, so it was 3. So when they go in, they close all the 3 doors, so to pay them to everybody in that room will die before they were taken out to the sea, to serve as a warning or a deterrent to the rest of the enslaved Africans not to repeat the same mistake, because if you do, you also suffer the same punishment. So we have 3 shots there. The doors were 3, but 2 of them are removed today. We are just going to walk through this place and we'll come back for a few minutes. And so please watch your head. We have 3 very short doors. You watch your head as we are going in. The moment they walk through this door of no return, they are not coming back. So this is where they make their final exit or movement from African soil. And when you use this door, you lose your name, you lose your roots, you lose your identity. You cannot trace back your roots. So this is where they will pass, and they are taken to some of the Caribbean islands like Barbados, Jamaica, Venezuela, Trinidad, and then North America, Virginia, North and South Carolina. And so over more than 10 millions of Africans use those doors. Not all of them can walk through this side of the door, because wherever they capture them, some will die. And the room, some will die. It only takes a stronger man to survive all this harsh treatment in the rooms to end up here, go and develop the world for them today. And so millions of Africans use this door, never came back. We are also going to use the same door, but we are coming back to our roots again. And so let's come out and let's see what.
Oh, I've got something.
And so the big ships will come. They can't come here, but they will transport them by using the smaller boats like the ones here to the ship. And the ship, they were treated more horrified or inhuman than when they were in Israel. And so 4 or 5 years ago, the government of Ghana built the sea defense to prevent the water from destroying the homes of the locals. That's why this place will look different. And so today it turns into a fishing harbor for the locals here. Right. Now let's see the door of return. Let's see the reason why they have it.